Well, heya and hiya. Welcome into VG Emporium, and if you're a returning customer, well, welcome back on in. I'm just gonna get right into it. We're gonna be going down memory lane again for me. Not as far back as when I did my Sega Master System Memories episode. That was back to early childhood. No, we're going back to the grand old time of 2006 to 2010. And this window of time was basically when I graduated high school, all the way up to when I first just went out on my own and moved to the big city of San Francisco. So within this about 3.5 year period, I was still kind of figuring myself out, and really figuring out my musical tastes. Yeah, in episode 4, the Overlooked Remix episode, I kind of talked about a little bit about my beginning of my musical self-discovery, and just kind of really getting into learning that I really liked listening to video game music, as well as ridiculous remixes and just weird electronic music stuff. So as I said, I'm going to be sharing with you music that I discovered in my few semesters at the junior college in the computer lab, as well as my own using internet at home when we got that. And a big help in that was this site called Dogpile, which was a search engine, which was used like Yahoo or Google, but it had this function where you could actually look for music, and it would find MP3 or .wav files or whatever kind of music file in a site, and it would give you a direct link to that file, which is actually how I discovered this piece of music that we're listening to right now. This is Melodramatic Pop Song by Plamo. And I found this by looking up, I think I was just looking for video game music or 8-bit music or something like that, and it gave me this link to, and it went to his MySpace, and this song was on it, along with a bunch of other just really cool, weird songs this guy was making. And yes, I said MySpace back in the day when it was actually being used for, promoting one's music. And what music this guy made, he did maybe a few actual Game Boy songs, using LSDJ, but he also did these weird kind of multi-instrumental recordings, a lot of them are made using toy instruments, so toy synths, toy pianos, just all this stuff. And he goes by the name Plamo. His real name's Shu Suzuki. And yes, when I first heard the song, I was just whoa, I can't even imagine how he made this thing. It's just so unlike anything I ever heard coming from that was made on a Game Boy. And this is back when I was still kind of in my early days of learning about original chip tunes. So yes, I just gobbled this up. I gobbled up everything else that he had had posted on MySpace, as so far as to finding a way to download all the music he had shared on MySpace before it went down and they cleared out everybody's songs that they had posted up there. Not even my stuff is up there anymore that I had made, which I'm debating whether or not to share. maybe one day on Bandcamp. But yes, I've been listening to his music, like that specifically from MySpace, from the space, like he was making this stuff from between about like 2005 up to about 2008-ish or so. And I've been listening to that for the past like 10, close to 15 years now. And that's about 20 tracks, and that's like, mostly originals, a few covers, and a few of them are chiptune, the rest of them are just like weird toy instrumental stuff. So now let's fast forward to 2019, and I was trying to find this guy again, like, trying to find Plamo, see if he had posted more music in those past times, because I tried in the past and just couldn't find anything. And I came across this name, Ventla, and I started listening to it, and it sounded familiar. So I did a little digging, and I found out this is the guy. He's still making music, so from the time of like 2010 all the way up to now, he's been making music consistently. He's like got this goal of creating 100 albums, and at this point, I think he's about close to hitting the threshold of 50. And I have downloaded them all. I have them on a USB stick that I have in my car that I'll just play on random, like every once in a while I'm going on long drives, because his music, I just can't explain it. I love it all. I could listen to it nonstop. It's just really hard to explain how good it feels to listen to it. And he is on Twitter, and there was a good solid year where he was actually sharing recordings of himself playing music, where he would have everything set up in just one shot, and he has like just memorized to play everything like in order. And it's just these instruments, nothing programmed, nothing's like, only thing that's programmed are on little like, drum machines or stuff like that, but nothing computer, like nothing digital. It's all just like analog recorded, and it was really awesome to watch. I would encourage you to go check out his Twitter account. It's his name is Ventla, or at Plamo, and just look at his media and look at his videos, because they're just fascinating and just to watch. And he uses all sorts of instruments, like little synths, little toy instruments, like these weird little like sample button things that just kind of like play sound bites. And he uses his Game Boy as well as like for some backing melodies sometimes, and just like has everything playing off like a 4-track. And it's like all his music, you'll hear like this hiss of the tape in the background, and it's just, ooh, I just can't say enough about this guy and just how good his music is. Case in point, this DMG jam that we're listening to right now. He has this really good just pop sensibility, like, really feels like, he's inspired by a lot of city pop, video game music, like all the best parts of it. I don't know, it's just hard to explain. You have to go listen to it for yourself. So I'll be definitely linking his Twitter and his Bandcamp on the show notes. And so again, this name of the song is Melodramatic Popular Song by Ventla, or at the time when he made this, Plamo. So now moving on, or I should say stepping back a year, because I discovered this song in 2007, so this next one I'm going to play for you, I found in high school as like just a short video on YouTube when YouTube was in its infancy. This is Japanese Animation by Japanese Telecom. You just heard Japanese Animation by Japanese Telecom from their self-titled album, Japanese Telecom. And in my research I've done recently, I found out it's actually the pseudonym for Gerald Donald, who was a prominent figure in the Detroit electro scene back in like the mid-late 90s to the early 2000s. And he's more well known for his work as part of Drexciya and Doppler Effect. So if you're an electro head or just like a general electronic music weirdo, you may know this guy. But yes, how I discovered this was, I can't quite remember. I was looking for something and I came across YouTube. It was kind of like first time I found it like in high school, and it was this video of like clips from Akira set to this music. And I was just fascinated by it because it sounded kind of chiptune. Had like those really simple waves, like square waves and sounds and stuff, but it wasn't video game music. It was something else, something new. Though it took a little bit to grow on me because by this time I had also discovered drum and bass and Square Pusher, which really bwah, bwah, like that Tim and Eric scene. There's like bwah. But yeah, so the video itself was called Japanese Animation, so that's all I had to go off of. So a few years later, I decided to go looking for it, and I found it. I found the guy, or at least the group that I thought was a group that did it, Japanese Telecom, and they also did another album called Virtual Geisha, which actually has one of the songs I use as one of my ringtones, called Pagoda of Sin, which is just this really nice little simple melody. Has a little bit of a drum beat in there, but it's really light, and yeah, I like it. So yeah, this is just another one of those ones I just kind of come back to. I'll put on like both of these albums on if I just want to drone out while I'm driving. So yeah, no, it's not video game music per se, but I found it in my pursuit of video game music, so that's why I have it here. But what I'm going to play for you next is video game music, and it is actually one of my first forays into the world of the MSX. This is going to be Illusion Theme B and A from Illusion City, composed by Yukihara Urita, Tadahiro Nita, and Yasufumi Fukuda. You just heard Illusion Themes B and A from Illusion City on the MSX2 Turbo, composed by Yukihiro Irita, Tadahiro Nita, and Yasufumi Fukuda. So now, it may be a little obvious that I spent a lot of my time in computer labs, either when I was in high school or my short time at a local college was not for schoolwork, but for just messing around and finding like just cool music or really cool things. And in the case of this, it was my trying to figure out how to emulate Snatcher on an MSX emulator, because previously I had played Snatcher for the Sega CD via emulator, and then I discovered that it was actually, like, the original release was on the MSX, and I had never heard of that before, so I looked into it, found out what it was. Like, Japanese computer was used, like, all throughout Europe and everything, too. And I found a MSX emulator called Blue MSX, and I found the disk image of Snatcher, and for the life of me, I could not get it to work at all, ever. But in my searching, I also found other games, and this other one I found was called Illusion City, and I was able to get that one to work. And when it booted up, well, suffice to say, I was a little speechless, just as the cool, like, pixel art intro, like, beginnings, kind of like muted tones, stills of, like, some kind of like dirigible-looking things or ships and stuff, talking about, it's all in Japanese, too. I didn't have a patched disk image or ROM. And then, after it gets over that big kind of like storytelling bit, it gets into, like, the second part, which is theme A, where it's showing, like, this whole scene of, like, this futuristic city. There's, like, just, like, these ships flying around, like, this kind of patrol thing just kind of coming down slowly, lights all over the place, this guy walking down the street, crazy alien, weird mutant thing just popping out of, like, fading into the screen and jumping at him, and he pulls a gun out and shoots the alien thing, and that's where it ends, and it's just like, whoa, this is a cool, really, really cool. And, yeah, I've got to play a little bit of it. Like I said, it was untranslated, so I really didn't know what I was doing with it. It's an RPG. Illusion City is an RPG, so, it's pretty straightforward. Like, if you can just go through and do the battles and stuff. You can't read what the text is, everything is saying, but, you can get the general idea of how to play through it. But the thing that really, like, caught me was the music, because, like, it was just, like, really different sounding. It sounded close to the music on, like, the FM music on Sega Master System. If we go back to my episode 35, Sega Master System memories, it's the YM2413. It's the same sound chip. It's just, I don't know, they were able to get, like, make it sound even more. It's like I said, it's the same sound chip, but they had the extra, like, that extra AY chip to kind of, for, like, some extra, like, tones and stuff. But, yeah, just the way how let's just call them the micro cabinet sound team, were able to just make it sound like just this big, epic, really awesome sound. And actually, I did bring a track from this game to when I guest appeared on Rhythm and Pixels all those months, like so many months ago, back in like maybe, I think it was like March or something, I can't remember, but we did it, like the theme was Wacky Ass Tunes, and I brought on this shop theme, which is just like bonkers crazy, just the way how it sounds and everything. So yeah, if you want to go check that out, go look for Rhythm and Pixels Wacky Tunes. And the one thing we really got to talking about too on this particular track was just the snare of that. Like, it's not inside this track, but like throughout the game, there's like this snare that they use that is just like this really nice punchy sound. And I figured out what it was because I actually recreated it in Deflamask using the Sega Master System YM2413 extension. That's that they Deflamask re-added like about maybe half a year ago, and it's a combination of the like the preset snare tone that comes with the YM2413 pulse tone, and the noise like used in just like together, and it just creates just like certain volume levels on each one, and it just creates this really nice like full punchy just like snare sound. So yeah, that's how much I like this one. Made so much that I figured out how to recreate the battle theme for this game on Deflamask, because I wanted to figure out how to make that snare. So now, like, really cool thing is that, I discovered this game and its music when my FM obsession was really starting to come to the surface. So that kind of brings us to our next track. It's called Funk Bump by Joshua Morse from his album Waveform. That funky little ditty you just done heard was Funk Bump by Joshua Morse from his 2007 album, Waveform. So whereas Illusion City had me hankering for more FM BGM, this here just had me like really wanting more like just FM music in general. I mean, that entire first Waveform album is just nothing but just like these FM funk jams. And the jam master behind it, Joshua Morse, well, I featured one of his songs before on the second Grab Bag episode. And this guy is just a musical genius when it comes to like this BGM inspired like digital fusion, funktastic just jams. I mean, he's done about 7 of these Waveform albums. They're all just like the same thing, like really funky, all like changing different sounds. Like, this first one's FM, the second one's kind of focusing more on like kind of like arcadey, like SNES sounds, and then the other next ones are all just like mixed sounds from like different video games and original sounds. And then just recently he completed a whole set called 6 volumes called Chipset, which are just like these really cool, just again like mostly FM BGM inspired kind of like New Jack swing R&B, like just really good smooth stuff. And then he's just started doing a chip funk, which is more focused on SNES sounds. But we're getting too far ahead. Coming back to the time when I found this this track in the album, it just like unlocked this new door in my head where I was like, I gotta have more of this stuff. So then that's around the same time I found the Masaya Shiranaga stuff on online when all I had to go by was MS and just like random FM stuff on this Japanese website. And just kind of got to the point where I was burning CDs of just nothing but like this like FM music. And yes, I was still burning CDs at this time, like in like 2008, 2009, because for some reason I hadn't just gotten a proper MP3 player until 2009. So, boy, you can imagine I just chocked that thing full of all the music I had discovered over those years from 2006 to then. So, like all that FM music, all the OLL remixes, all the video game music I'd found, everything, like a lot of Square Pusher when I was like really getting to his stuff. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike and Killer 7 soundtracks were just mainstays on any devices I had gotten after that. And can't forget Lagrange Point. That was an exciting time finding GNSF and just recording or exporting all those songs from the Lagrange Point NSF to .wave, then turning them into MP3s to put them on my MP3 player. Now that was an exciting time. But there was one that I had discovered that isn't actually video game music related per se, but maybe more say inspired many video game music in the towards the 80s and 90s. And I'm of course talking about Yellow Magic Orchestra. And the song I'm going to play for you is Raideen from their 1979 album Solid State Survivor. And that epic song was Raidin by Yellow Magic Orchestra from their 1979 album Solid State Survivor. And this pretty much just blew my mind when I discovered it. And subsequently, it blew my friends' minds when I introduced it to them. So now let's go to about 2008, 2009. I had stopped going to that local college because it just wasn't for me. And we had internet at home, so I didn't really need the computer lab anymore. So I had found this site called That Hadoken Sound. And it was just this blog spot this guy was running where he would share this really awesome music he'd find. He would then have either mega upload, MediaFire, or rapid share links of RAW or zip files that just contained all the MP3s of like these albums. And I found a lot of really cool stuff. Hudson Mohawk when he was still good. But my best discovery was this, like Yellow Magic Orchestra. I was like, whoa, that looks cool. It's just some guys sitting around a table and they're wearing like these matching suits, kind of like Devo. And then I downloaded it and it's just like, what is this? It sounds like video game music. I mean, just like that opening song on the album, Tokyo, is like, whoa. And then writing like this song, which was like immediately conjured an image of the stage in Shinobi 3 where you're riding the horse and like, the background, there's like the thunder going on and you see all the grass and all the guys are coming at you and stuff. I mean, like every time I hear this song, I can't help but see that because of that horse galloping sound that shows up through there and just kind of like that, just this gallop it has. So yes, basically how I did with Square Pusher, I just went and found all the albums I could find of theirs. I just like went searching, found either torrents or rare all those like media sharing sites or the file sharing sites and stuff, and just found all that I could because I was just obsessed with it. It was just all of it was just so good, and like this all had happened back in like starting in the 70s. Like whoa, this sound was coming from like the 70s, and then their like stuff in the 80s was really cool, and then like their 90s stuff is kind of a little bit more I don't know what to call it, maybe like esoteric electronic. It's like kind of like got dancey, but it's just really like weird and they're off kilter in their own sound. And so as I was introducing the track, I had mentioned that it inspired a lot of video game music from the 80s and 90s, and that's no joke, because a lot of the video game music being done by Japanese composers, you can kind of hear the DNA of Yellow Magic Orchestra in there. And it might be a little bit of a fib saying that YMO wasn't inspired by video game music, because in their first album, their self-titled Yellow Magic Orchestra, they have a song in there called Computer Games, where they actually use sounds from like arcade games and computer games. So they too were inspired by those sounds. So inadvertently creating a new sound that then inspired more video game music. And these guys' influences was big. I mean, like so much so that Hitoshi Sakamoto used the pseudonym YMOH.S as for when he was making in his early VGM career. So now Yellow Magic Orchestra is made up of Haruomi Hosono, Yukihiro Takahashi, and Ryuichi Sakamoto. And it was Ryuichi Sakamoto that I had really gotten into, or like focused really in on, because at the same time I was really getting into the music of Masashi Hamauzu, and he cited Ryuichi as one of his influences. So I went through and was finding all the stuff he had done, like Thousand Knives, like his live performance of Thousand Knives with like him on piano, and then having another piano that was automated that was playing alongside him, as well as Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which was a movie that he actually starred in, and he wrote the main theme song for it, which is a really beautiful song. I think I talked about it before in my Masters of EGM episode, talking about Masashi Hamauzu. So now a really fun story about listening to Yellow Magic Orchestra was in one of my first trips to San Francisco, when I was scouting out this place I was going to go to school to called SAE Institute of Technology. I had gotten there. I was walking through the business district, listening to the Naughty Boys instrumental version, and it actually matched up with my walk from like through the business district all the way up the hill heading towards Chinatown, because I know the music just matched up perfectly, because like when I got into Chinatown, it was like this kind of more Asian, kind of like Oriental sounding, I don't know if the right word thing, and it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to explain. I might have to talk about it in a different episode in the future just to really get into it, but it's just one of my favorite memories. Now it's time to start winding down and heading towards our last track of the night, and this one is really special. Like I don't know how to explain it, but this is Friends with Cured Fate by Nags. And that chills-causing track was Friends with Cured Fate by Nags. And I do want to note that when I first discovered this song, which was again through that Dogpile music search, that magical music search, the title was Friends with Cured Fate, and then parentheses, original was 97.6 kilobyte XM. And at the time, I didn't know what an XM file was, like the only context for XM I had was when they had the Sirius XM radio. Yes, the great futuristic technology of satellite radio. But in all seriousness, this song, when I first heard it, like I said, it brought me serious chills. It was one of those songs that actually caused me to tear up because I had never heard anything like it before. I didn't know about, I kind of knew about trackers through Maze Dude a little bit, but I still couldn't fathom how how somebody made this, because it sounded like it was like chiptune video game music, but I couldn't figure out what system it was from. For some reason my mind just wouldn't be able to comprehend the fact that it was maybe not made with a video game, music from a video game type sounding thing. I can't quite find the right words, but you get my idea. So I decided to start doing some digging, looking for more Nag stuff, and I found it. And then it, like I said, opened this doorway of finding more of just these tracker musicians like Huns and Riven, Mick Rippin, Yansuni, aka Tempest, Drax, Purple Motion. I mean, I could keep naming them off, but I'd just be here for a lot longer than I need to. And yeah, so many of the other songs I've been playing today, it's just this one opened up more musical doors for me, just new paths just to find this really amazing music that I didn't have any idea was out there. And just I can't keep coming back to this song because it's just so I don't know, it's just something about it is just so good. I love Nags' demo music, his tracker music, his demo scene music. It's just I can't explain it. It just has this particular sound. It's like Plamo / Ventla's music. It just has this sound to it. It's just the way that Nags writes his music. It just kind of, I don't know. It's just I can't find the right words. So, but what I actually do have words for is what next week's episode is going to be about, because this song and this musician actually kind of leads into it. And what is it going to be is a look at Nags presents 100 Best Demo Scene Small Tunes, which is a collection of demo scene and small tunes and chip tunes from dating back all the way back to the 1980s, late 1980s, all the way up to 2009. And I'm going to be playing about 10, count that 10, that's a tenth of this entire collection, the 10 songs that I like the most. So if you're a demo scene head or generally love tracker music, this is going to be for you. So I'd like to thank you again for coming into VG Emporium. You can find it on all your favorite podcatchers, such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, as well as on YouTube and social medias like Instagram and Twitter. And you can find me, your host, Rage Cage, also on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on SoundCloud, where I post all my original music. And eventually I'll be starting to post videos again onto my YouTube, because I probably need to do that. But anyway, make sure to tune in next week, because it's going to be a lot of really good tracker demo scene music. You're just gonna love it, I guarantee it!